What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to Carpo's channel, and in this video I would like to address quickly, hopefully briefly, the opioid crisis and what's going on with OxyContin and the lawsuits. I have made several videos and had discussions about this in the past, about what's going on with big pharma as far as them dominating the market with the opioids, then hiding the dangers and potential pitfalls, and profiting in the billions. And I've mentioned before that the Sackler family they're the billion-dollar family, multi-billionaires. They made a ton of money off of OxyContin. I can't remember how many billions of dollars, but I believe it was 30 to 40 billion dollars. And meanwhile, Americans became hooked on them, and it was at least in part contributing to the opioid epidemic we now have. I'm not going to blame their family or that drug specifically for all the problems we have. But let's put it this way, there have been opioid crises in this country before. During the Civil War, many soldiers were coming back addicted to morphine. And this has happened a couple times in the past, but circumstance, it managed to heal itself because of war, because of not being able to access the drugs. That's all changed now. There's plenty of heroin available, and as we know, many of the U.S. soldiers were guarding the poppy fields in Afghanistan during the war, and this is because the U.S. uses a lot of those products. And so, anyhow, it's a big, disgusting circle, but let's just put it this way. This family made a lot of money off of addiction, and now they finally have been successfully sued. And it's interesting because in this process they're saying basically they're going to file for bankruptcy, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't matter. Dissolving one company when they have, I believe, 120 different sister companies and umbrella corporations and subsidiaries, you can't really win. You can't win with these people. And in past years they've moved billions of dollars into offshore accounts. The irony is that the Sacklers actually recently just made $60 million in a real estate deal, selling their parts in this during this a bunch of ski resorts over in North Carolina and I think Virginia area. The irony is that it's the same area where some of the heaviest addiction took place. Well, OxyContin, as far as they knew what they were doing, I remember in the 90s and early 2000s, the stuff was everywhere. Everybody had it. And it was so popular on the streets that, it was just the normal OCs, I guess I'm making this video to say, yes, finally something's coming of it. They're being sued by thousands of individual counties and certain states, many states, as well as individual patients. They're going to be paying out billions of dollars. The lawsuit states that they want them to pay out $3 billion out of their own pockets, and also dissolve and shut down their company. I don't know what's going to become of it, but this has actually trickled down now to the individuals, and I wanted to read you this article that I came across. This guy right here, I don't know if you can see that picture or not, but Dr. Joel Smithers was sentenced to 40 years in prison on Wednesday for illegal opioid prescriptions. This is a good sign. Doctors took an oath to do no harm, and a lot of doctors seem to think they're untouchable. And I would like to respect doctors because a lot are good, but many are just real shit heels, and this guy's one of them. It says, a Virginia doctor received a 40-year prison sentence Wednesday for illegally prescribing more than 500,000 doses of oxycodone, hydromorphone, fentanyl, and other opioids to patients for years. He operated a pill mill out of Martinsville. So he was in Virginia. He prescribed controlled substances to every patient in his practice, resulting in over 500,000 Schedule II controlled substances being distributed. He was raided in 2017, and this says people traveled hundreds of miles to go there. Most of the people are from Kentucky, West Virginia, patients from Tennessee because their own pill mills had been shut down. The point is that doctors are actually going to have to pay the price for their part that they played. But I'd like to say that this went from the doctors back to the these basically these counseling, I guess you would call them agents, these advertisers that travel from, the companies and wine and dine doctors and say, look, if you prescribe these, you get this much kickback and money and vacations. And doctors do it. The fact that doctors prescribe pills based on the kickbacks they get, to me, is one of the worst things, one of the worst travesties in medicine. The fact that that happens. Because a doctor should only be prescribing something that they have done research on themselves and believe, because they are a doctor. A doctor is there to do the research on these pills. If he's merely selling what he saw on a commercial, just like, then everybody else might as well just be able to get prescriptions without a doctor, right? And, the whole medical system is really messed up, but we can't change it overnight. But what we can do is show that, prescribing these drugs, you're not going to get away with it. The fact that he only got a 40-year sentence, he'll probably do 20 years, it isn't enough for a lot of people. I mean, several people died. The thing is, if you were a drug dealer on a corner and you had a pound of heroin and you were selling to people and you got busted, you might get life in prison. There are people life in prison just for distributing marijuana or possession of drugs. So we got to put this into perspective. It seems that those who have licenses to distribute these drugs are untouchable, even though they're the ones who are actually supposed to know better. And so, take note, at least that's what's going on with it. I hope that they get their asses whooped. And I'll talk to you. Oh, sounds like it's starting to hail out there. I can hear the raindrops hitting the roof. Anyhow, thanks for listening, and yeah, I hope they pay the price. That's all I can say. I hope these people pay the price, but I can't see that the Sacklers are ever going to get punished themselves. But more to come on this in the future. So, take care, everybody.